The video you were probably expecting, and the video that really didn't want to get made. I've lost this save file 3 times, but if you're seeing this, then the 4th time was the charm. I don't know what's going on with this game lately, but legitimately, I have lost a save file in Season 2, in Season 4, and back in Season 1 at the trade deadline. I stopped, I had to close the game, come back an hour later, it was gone. But we're here now. We did a Vancouver Canucks 5-year plan a while ago, and right as that video was published, Quinn Hughes was dealt to the Minnesota Wild. So we saw what we could do with the Canucks post Quinn Hughes. Funny enough, the trade offer that was apparently rumored by the New Jersey Devils is basically exactly what we took in that challenge. But of course, we know Quinn Hughes is a member of the Minnesota Wild. And so, in this 5-year challenge, this 5-year plan, we are going to try and do everything that we can to convince Quinn Hughes to stay here, to prove that we are a competitive team, to prove that, much like Bill Guerin set out to do, this is a place where you want to be, Quinn. Don't go to New Jersey with your brothers and look at that franchise is falling apart ever since that trade didn't happen. No, this is where you want to be, and we have 2 seasons to do it in terms of making it at least deep into the playoffs to show, hey, we're legit, we're a contender, please stay here. So kind of similar to what we did with Edmonton and Connor McDavid before, Connor McDavid ended up re-signing. It has been a strange year to start these 5-year plan videos, just as, again, a little bit of a break from my normal type of franchise mode stuff, and just coincidentally things that are happening afterwards. But with that, this is the team that we are starting off with here in Season 1. Matt Boldy, Danila Yurov, and Kirill Kaprizov as the top line. I'm intrigued to see if we can get Danila Yurov to improve, but he is an obvious shout for a replacement towards the trade deadline. Second line, I'm not totally convinced by. I mean, if it was Vladimir Tarasenko of 2017, I'd be pretty happy. He is next to Joel Eriksson and Matt Zuccarello. Third line of Marcus Johansson, Ryan Hartman, and Marcus Foligno, which provides a good bit of grit and physicality and, the defense overall. And then Yakov Trenin, Nico Sturm, and Vinny Hinostroza on the 4th line. Love me some Nico Sturm as a, face-off winning, defensively responsible 4th line centerman. Defensively, though, of course, that is where we are really going to focus upon. Quinn Hughes, again, is here for a short amount of time unless we can prove that we are worthy of keeping him full term. He is going to be with Brock Faber. Jared Spurgeon. Oh, Jared Spurgeon. That Don Cherry clip from just years ago. He plays baseball. Jonas Brodin alongside him, and then Jacob Middleton with David Yarechek on the 3rd line. Goaltending, of course. I mean, in real life, too, it looks great. Philip Gustafsson and Jesper Wallstedt. Not too bad, certainly. It just feels like a team where you have the star power. You just need to make sure, if at all, that you have the right pieces around them. And, in terms of the changes, we might not need to make changes. We might have the right pieces right here and right now. AHL, by the way, well, we don't have a ton going on to the point where we're having to play a defenseman in Aaron Kiviharju as a forward, but he's with Hunter Haight at a high 9, Riley Height at a high 9, and that's basically what we have. Kumpalainen and Stramel, both high 9 potentials. And then defensively, you're talking about Damon Hunt at a medium 6. In terms of these crazy prospects, I mean, especially too, goalies, we don't have any, even though old Sammy here is going to the Olympics. We don't have too much to give up, right? If we look to improve this team, for the most part, it's going to have to be some shrewd moves because look at all of our most valuable players. They are already here. I mean, again, you look at the value of Height and Kumpalainen, there's not much going on there. So really, Season 1 is going to be about what can we do, particularly at the trade deadline where values will hopefully be a little bit lower, more people will be on the block. What can we do to make sure that this team is as competitive as possible? Best bargaining chip is that 1st-round pick next year. But my goal here is simple. We want to win a cup, and I would love to do it here in Season 1. Well, wouldn't you know? 36, 17, and 7. Turns out this team might just be good enough to compete this season. You know, what's funny is I was sitting here holding my breath about, this sim and the file not corrupting or anything like that. I ended up coughing, which was a reminder that, oh, yeah, that's right. I also got sick for a week and a half. I'm still not even back to 100% to start this new year as well. So, again, apologies for the delays, but it really was out of my hands. The New York, I was going to say the New York. Was New York up there? I was going to say Winnipeg, and then it switched over, and I'm like, wait a minute, New York? Maybe I'm losing my mind. No, yeah, the New York Rangers were in the Metro. There you go. It happened to replace it. It was weird. I digress. The Winnipeg Jets are currently, oh my God, can I please get back there? Thank you. The Winnipeg Jets are currently above us with 2 games at hand, both at 79 points, so they're certainly doing a little bit better than they are in real life. But let's take a look at the team so far and see, well, is there anything that we really need to change here? Matt Boldy is outstanding. Nothing to really worry about with him. 57 points in 60 games. He's been great. Danila Yurov, he's up to an 80. He's got 42 points in 60 games. His goal for the season was to win the Calder. If I had to guess, he has a pretty good opportunity at doing that. And then Kaprizov, 33 goals and 29 assists, over a point per game so far this season. I don't really see a need to change the top line right now. Second line, Tarasenko, 38 points, minus 12. That second line is getting pushed around quite a bit. Eriksson Ek, 19, 18, and a minus 8. And then the 34 points, minus 20 for Matt Zuccarello, who actually is now a top-line forward, but there's no way we can get him that ice time. Marcus Foligno has 101 penalty minutes. Again, excuse the cough, I'm still getting over. Oh, my God. Ryan Hartman, God, from a point production standpoint, it's not amazing. Marcus Johansson, 19 points and a plus 10. Fourth line, Yakov Trenin has 63 penalty minutes. Good Lord. Nico Sturm, 18 points. So the fourth line, plus-minus-wise, production-wise, they've actually done pretty well. His team might be good enough to just make a run of it, and hopefully we're good enough. I might have to wait to see what the rookie scoring is, though. Quinn Hughes, over a point per game. Phenomenal. Brock Faber, 48 points. Phenomenal. Jonas Brodin, 25 points and a plus 24, alongside Jared Spurgeon, who has 39 points on his own, and a Jacob Middleton with 18 points, 66 pims. With a mustache like that, you basically live in the box. And then David Yarechek, 13 points, 10 assists. I don't think there's anything to change here. Gustafsson on a 9-1-1, a 9-8 team for Wallstead. I think this team's good, unless we can justify moving Danila Yurov off of that top line. Worth noting that guys like Haidt, Kiviharju, they are getting better as well already, so Iowa seems to be doing pretty well. But let's take a look to see if we are actually going to do anything in regards to changes with this team, because it might not be necessary. Austin Matthews, by the way, leading the league in points. John Tavares is right up there with him. But what we care about right now is the rookies, and Yurov is in the mix. It is a 2-horse race between Danila Yurov and Ivan Demidov, and if I had to guess right now, Yurov wins it off of plus-minus. That would be the real change to make, is moving him off that top line. But long-term, now short-term, it could hurt us. Long-term, that bumps him up to medium elite, probably helps him get another couple overall points, and all of a sudden we, have Danila Yurov as a key part of the core moving forward. I think we have to keep this team the way that it is, unless there is somebody available at this trade deadline at the end of this week. Unless there is somebody where it's just undeniable, like, no, you'd be dumb not to get this player. I think we have our target. I think we have our guy. So, for the hell of it, conservative buyer. It's not going to change anything, really. I just think it's an accurate description. Rasmus Anderson, he could replace David Yarechek, but then we probably won't be able to keep him with the defense that we already have under contract. Vince Dunn, Matheson, it's mostly defensemen. I don't think there's that guy. There's no shock player of Nathan McKinnon's on the block. We have no choice but to get him. So I guess the question is, Is there a trade that makes sense? And of course, Gustafsson has his contract extension kicking in at the end of the year. Jaracek's deal is up. Now, I do think he is actually probably our best bargaining piece, but he's going to be an RFA in the offseason. We could easily move him then if, because ultimately we will likely stay loyal to guys like Spurgeon, at least until the end of this year. Maybe Jaracek takes Spurgeon's spot, maybe he doesn't. So we'll come to that decision later on. Tarasenko has a crazy modified no trade. How many teams is it? I forget. Yeah, 8 teams he can be traded to. That is it. Zuccarello's deal is up, but he has a no movement clause. So, I mean, he's going nowhere. The players barely waive in this game. It's not even worth it. So unless we wanted an upgrade on Tarasenko, God, Marcus Foligno has a freaking no movement clause? Jesus. You'd think I would have remembered that, but it has been a little bit since I tried to record this, again, due to the illness. Oh my goodness. Okay, so really the only person to potentially move would be Tarasenko. And even then, who would we get? Brian Rust? With respect to Brian Rust and the term that he has, Troy Terry, Tyler Bertuzzi. We're locked in, and we're heading to the playoffs. 48-25-9, the Minnesota Wild are indeed heading to the postseason as the number 1 team in the Western Conference, actually beating Winnipeg by just 1 point. Again, much better in the game than they are in real life this season. Kirill Kaprizov and Quinn Hughes both tied on 94 points. Boldy on 91. The drop-off is pretty stark from there, but Danila Yurov, 58 points, a plus 39. Great chance at being a Calder winner. The plus-minus as well. Again, it's not a great stat, but it is pretty indicative, right? Plus-minus, Kaprizov's plus 44. Turns out he was pretty good. Yeah, that's accurate. Matt Zuccarello being a minus 21. Like, you can read into that as defensively that second line really did struggle. Ryan Hartman being a minus 1. Mojo being a plus 6. Can't really read too much into that, although it's weird because they are on the same line. So, figure that one out. And shout out to the 155 penalty minutes of one Marcus Foligno. And because I know some will be wondering, 21 fights. I know it's blocked by the webcam, but 21 fights. Defensively, we already saw that Quinn Hughes was insane. Faber was awesome. Those two, again, the idea there has to be your Devon Taves and Cale Makar combination, right? That has to be it. Spurgeon and Brodin were awesome. Middleton and Jaracek, honestly, weren't that bad either. 25 points for Middleton's pretty good. Goaltending, Wallstead back half of the season struggled. The fact that we're hovering around a 3.0 goals against average is a little bit concerning. But in theory, we have the firepower to outscore our issues. Speaking of outscoring the issues, Matthews, absolutely dominant this season. I guess he doesn't have the injuries he probably has in real life. Tavares was up there. Connor McDavid. And, hey, that worked out pretty well, didn't it? Nathan McKinnon, David Pastrnak, Alex Ovechkin, 100 points. The funny thing is, 55 goals for Ovi at age 40. I mean, shit, man. Maybe he can do it. Maybe he can with how good he has still been this season. IRL, of course. Defensively, Makar might not win the Norris. There's a chance it could go to Quinn Hughes, thanks to that plus-minus. There's also a chance it could go to Adam Fox. Hopefully it goes to Quinn, though. That'd be a nice little boost for us. Goaltending-wise, the winningest three-way tie between Hellebuck, Vasilevsky, and Bobrovsky. Shutout leader with 7 is Igor Shesterkin. And in terms of save percentages, Shesterkin, Binnington, Hellebuck, all to 916. We'll see who wins the Vezina from there. Probably Igor. For the rookies, I don't think there's any denying. Danila Yurov is going to win the Calder, and that's huge for us. Let's be honest, Demidov doesn't need it. Montreal will be fine. Danila Yurov winning the Calder is absolutely gigantic for us. And then poor Matthew Schaefer, a minus 29. Not ideal for him. Let's just some crazy goaltending performance, which there wasn't. Dobesh was pretty good, but he only played 22 games. So I think we have a Calder winner. Great start, but we want more than that. as we get into this postseason, our first chance. And this was really the first step, right? Make the playoffs at the very least. Now what can we do to prove ourselves moving forward as we draw Jordan Binnington and the St. Louis Blues? Let's take a look at their roster here, which is Pavel Buchnevich, which in real life I know Blues fans aren't too happy with him. Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou. Second line of Jake Neighbors, Braden Shen, and Dylan Holloway. Nathan Walker, Pia Suter, and Alexei Toropchenko. Fourth line, Matthew Joseph, Oscar Sundqvist, and Jimmy Snuggerud. It's not too bad. Defensively, Cam Fowler and Colton Parayko, Justin Falk, and Philip Broberg, which, in terms of this attempt and having to restart for the fourth damn time, did I mention that at all? We do have the Broberg extension in the game, which, good for him, man. Sucks for the Oilers. Good for him. Good for the Blues. They also have Nick Leddy and Matt Kessel. Goaltender, of course, is Binnington. Hofer as the backup with Tucker, Fabry, and Bjugstad. It's the healthy scratches. Do I think we're a better overall team than them? Probably. Do they have the type of team that wins often in this simulation within the EA NHL games? Yes. Yes, they do. So we'll see what happens here. I was about to say we're the favorites, and for good reason. Mojo, 2 for Kaprizov, 1 for Tarasenko against his former club. It's 4-0. Make that 5-3. Brodin got one for us. Remember when I said we could outscore our problems? Brock Faber, the lone goal, 6-6. We go to overtime. The St. Louis Blues win it in overtime. We had a 4-0 lead at the end of the first period, and we lost 7-6 in overtime. They put Hofer in the game. Wow. Okay. They had won 2 of their final 10 games in the regular season, and then they pull that off. That feels so similar, and let me know if I'm misremembering this. The 2019 Lightning, right? Like, they started off strong in Game 1 against Columbus, and then they choked and just never got the momentum back. Hopefully that's not going to be the case here. We're putting Wallstead in for Game 2. I know he was worse in the regular season. We'll give him a chance in this game. First period, 1-1. Jacob Middleton has the goal for us. Second period, make that 3-2. Danila Yurov gets his first ever playoff goal. Third period, we tie it. It's Eriksson Ek as we force overtime for the second game in a row. And we're going to double overtime here. Can we win it? No, we can't. Jordan Kyrou is the hero, and the St. Louis Blues heavily outshoot us in both games, have about 100 shots over the course of those 2 games. They win back-to-back games in overtime. Wow. Okay, and we are down 0-2 in this series. Not what I was hoping for. Certainly not what I was expecting. Gustafson's back in for Game 3. I mean, can we look at one particular line? It's not even one particular line that's getting shelled, which makes me think it's penalty minutes. Let me double check that to be certain, but that screams penalty minutes if we're giving up that many goals. Foligno, 6 for Boldy. Foligno, I mean, is that 5 separate penalties? Nah, he has 2 fights. Game 3. I don't know what to make of this so far, but this is pretty brutal. First period, 1-1. Zuccarello got a power play tally for us. Second period, now 3-1. Mojo and Eriksson Ek. Third period. This is going to go down as the most frustrating series I think I've ever seen in the history of this channel. Overtime, St. Louis wins in overtime. For the 3rd game in a row, Nathan Walker, the pride of Australia. We are down 3-0 to the St. Louis Blues. losing all 3 games in overtime. And as much as you want to say, like, oh, well, it was all 3 games in overtime, so the series was close. It's not. And if it wasn't going to be close, it really needed to be in our favor. Wallstead gets the Game 4 start. Is there anything that, I mean, I guess the second and third pair. We'll bump up Jaracek just to see if he can cut. Nah, let's go for Middleton. Middleton, Spurgeon, Brodin, Jaracek. That's fine. From a forwards perspective, that top line has stagnated. So we'll go Boldy, Eriksson, Kaprizov, Tarasenko, Hartman, Zuccarello. I'm not afraid of that -1. Foligno, Urov, Johansson. Do we want Mojo there? You know what? Let's just fully mix up the centers. Eriksson, Hartman, Sturm, Urov. That's our best way, I would say, to mess around with things. I don't think Danila Urov deserves the blame, but those are probably the easiest changes to make. We got to try something different. Game number 4. Our season is on the line. This is a disaster. We score. Matt Boldy on the power play. Second period is goalless. Third period, St. Louis has forced overtime for the 4th game in a row. We're going to double overtime again. And the St. Louis Blues have swept the Minnesota Wild, winning all 4 games in overtime. That is not... Oh, we picked up Michael Riley on waivers, by the way, in case you were wondering where he came from. That is not the type of series that is going to convince Quinn Hughes to stay in Minnesota. This was a wasted season. Even if Urov will likely go to medium elite. Wow. That is unbelievable that we just lost that series. Absolutely unbelievable. Wallstead had a pretty good series, but yeah. Just absolutely atrocious. For St. Louis, by the way, Kyrou, Thomas, Broberg, they were all phenomenal. Holloway was a point per game, too. And goaltending-wise, Hofer saved game 1, and then Binnington carried that momentum through. I don't know why they both have a win. They didn't win. I guess they did win 5 times in 4 games based on the amount of overtimes. The Tampa Bay Lightning have won the Stanley Cup in 2026. However, it could have been a lot worse for us. Now, first things first, this is going to be confirmation that Danila Urov has won the Calder, which is probably the only bright spot of this entire season based off of how it ended. Tampa winning the Cup. Ooh, I think we have a Norris winner too. Indeed we do. Quinn Hughes wins the Norris Trophy. But we could be coming up to his final season here, potentially. Those are our 2 award winners. Tampa winning the Cup is nice, even though it's not us, because of who could have won the Cup. They beat Vancouver in 7. Vancouver beat Utah, Edmonton, and Colorado all in 7 games, only to lose to Tampa in 7 in the Cup final. This game is the biggest troll of a video game I have ever seen. And it's not designed to be that way, but somehow it is. Matthews wins the Art Ross and the Hart. Quinn Hughes does win the Norris for the 2nd time in 3 seasons. The Bing to Matthews. Urov wins the Calder. Conn Smythe to Jake Gensel. The Vezina to Jordan Binnington, as well as the Jennings. Dean Evison wins the Jack Adams, which, he was just fired, so that's a bit awkward. Selke Trophy to Sidney Crosby. Austin wins the Ted Lindsay Award and the Rocket Richard. In the AHL, the Springfield Thunderbirds won the Calder Cup, while Callum Ritchie was the top point getter. Noah Gregor was league MVP. Ritchie was also top goal scorer and the best rookie. Robert Bortuzzo, top defenseman. Jacob Fowler, best goalie. And I don't remember if it's Arttu Kaskamaki. I don't remember, but he was the MVP of that Calder Cup winning team in Springfield. So if we didn't have the pressure of needing to convince Quinn Hughes to stay here, in theory, not a bad season. But the way that it panned out for us, certainly not ideal. Like I said, with those kind of self-imposed, hey, we got to convince Quinn Hughes to stay here. But I feel like the Minnesota Wild in real life are feeling those pressures of, again, man, we got to convince this guy to stay after all we gave up to get him, knowing that he's not under an extension because he can't even be under a contract extension until, of course, July 1st of 2026, right? So there you go. Bunch of players become scouts. That's fine. The one thing I did want to look at before this draft, those progress reports. Let's take a look here in terms of improvement. Year off, indeed, a medium elite, showing up as a third line scoring forward. Hopefully we'll be top 6 heading into the next season. Hunter Height up to a 78. That's not bad. Yerechek an 81. Like I said, we have some moves we can potentially make here at the draft. And potentially some that would allow us to get back into the first round now that our pick is gone. Of course, we know that Chicago ended up winning the draft lottery. So looking at this team, Eriksson Ek's going nowhere, Hartman's going nowhere, couple of prospects that could be moved if need be, but in terms of value, that's all we got. There's really nothing there. Left wing side, Kaprizov's extension is about to kick in. Outside of that, Marcus Johansson's deal is up. We'll see what he wants in terms of an extension. Maybe there's somebody better, but for right now, there's no trade value anyway. And then right wing side, Zuccarello, Tarasenko, they are both potentially out. We'll see if maybe Zook comes back. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, in terms of value, the big move would be Jared Spurgeon, who is due to enter the last year of his contract. And normally that's when I feel like, oh, okay, fine, we can move that person. It kind of depends on what happens with David Yerechek, though. But if there's the right move for Spurgeon, Comfer, JVR in a 4th, DeBrincat. Ooh, DeBrincat? 14th overall from Montreal. Heg Jarkovsky in a 3rd. 27th overall, our original pick, as well as Aatu Aratu and a 3rd. 14th overall pick from Montreal for Jared Spurgeon, with David Yerechek stepping in to try and replace him. I mean, the thing is, if Yerechek improves this offseason, Spurgeon is probably out anyway. What could we get for Yerechek? Dean Letourneau in a 3rd. Particularly, what about first-round picks? I don't think we're going to get one. It's a couple medium 6 prospects. The 27th overall pick, back from Vancouver, and Danila Klimovich. Okay. So it's Yerechek or Spurgeon. Ideally, one of them goes, because if I had to guess, Yerechek will be listed as a top 4 defenseman next season, and we want to play him there to try and inhibit that extra bit of development from playing him within his role. And then goalie-wise, Wallsted's entering the final year of his deal. But, man, I don't know if we're getting rid of him. Yeah, especially not with, respect to Denver Barkey. Not just for Denver Barkey. So that 14th overall pick, is that worth making that move, or is it better to see what might happen from there? God, our scouting department was apparently pretty terrible. We got a bunch of guys who are 1 year out, so they're going to be low to mid 70s. Nobody who's immediately NHL ready at that point in the draft. Gavin McKenna does go to Chicago. If we don't trade Spurgeon now, odds are we're not going to be able to get a first-round pick for him this offseason, but there's no denying he had a really, really good season. He's the captain of the team. I think we might wait. I mean, 14th overall certainly isn't that bad. But I don't know if I trust that David Yerechek will indeed be a top 4 defenseman next season. So let's hold. Let's hold. We'll go to pick 59 because I really don't think we'll have all that much other value in which to trade up to get a higher pick, like end of the first, late second. So let's see. I mean, 2 years out for Louis-Francois Belanger, Dane Bucher, Callum Croskery, unconfirmed NHL ready. Yeah, see, I don't know if I believe that one. Dubé was 3 years out. 3 years. Yeah, 3 years for most of you guys. Julian Mays was 2 years out. Anybody else that wants to be 1 or 2 years out? Oliver's Murnieks is there. Shout out to Liam Ruck. And from there, a bunch of 3s. Any confirmed potentials? Not really. Yeah, God, the scouting department in Season 1 is always terrible. I mean, Belanger, we know, is a medium 9. It's probably about the best we can get, really. 2 years out. There's no way Callum Croskery is that good. Right? Yeah, I mean, so much of it's unconfirmed. No weaknesses, though. Yeah, what's the harm? Yeah, medium 6. That's fine. I mean, it's the same thing, obviously, as the forward. The medium 9 is the equivalent, so no big deal. Third round, and the reason why I want to go through this is so I can show you guys who went in the first round. Do we have anybody that's 2 years out? Unconfirmed for Jakub Vanacek. Ty Menier. Didn't we use Ty Menier in a different series? We might have. Anybody else that's 2 years out? Carter Hicks is unconfirmed. So is Zach Neiman. Oh, we took a defenseman in the second round. Let's go for Ty Menier here. Why not? Medium 9. Fair enough. Can't imagine we're going to get too much else beyond that. Enzo Latin. Do we have anybody that is 2 years out? We got a bunch of dudes that we know nothing about. The old boat tiger, Harrison Bodiger. Alexander Karmanoff. Big Karmanoff. Let's do it. We'll take the big man. Honestly, I wouldn't mind trading up for Bodiger because we need a goalie, but we could have gotten him anyway. We just needed one more pick. That's okay. We don't exactly need a goalie in the system anytime soon. Unconfirmed 3 years out for that guy at the top of the board. Colby X is there. Mason St. Louis. Nepotism everywhere. Frederick McCollum. We'll just go for Dawson Morris. Why not? Medium 7th, sure. Fair enough. Another 5th round pick. Don't think we're going to get too much else. Mike Sopel. Danny Boland. Is there anybody? Bunch of 3-year out options. Teemu Pierala. Unconfirmed 2 years for Patrick Ruzhniak. Sure, let's go for him. He's a high AHL at least. It could have been worse, I guess. We missed out on another high fringe goalie. Anybody else? 2 years, 3 years. There's Tomka. Could take the Tomka truck. So many 3 years at this point. There is a goalie, Javon Cullen, who might have an ability. Let's go for him. Medium fringe. There we go. We have a goalie. We don't really have a goalie. I can't imagine he'll be much for us. It's fine. And our final pick. Man, I don't know. Elias Borup-Olsen. What a name. Do we have anybody that's like 2 years out? Finn Sadikoff is 3 years out. Nathan Brisson. I mean, sure. Or we could go with Nico Granlund. Granlund in Minnesota. It could work. Yeah, there you go. 06. So, like I said, wanted to go through the draft just to show you guys how the first round went for everybody else, since it didn't really matter for us. That is what we're dealing with. God, can you imagine if Stenberg ended up in Detroit? But I can't imagine they're going to have that low of a pick. But man, Ryan Lynn and Ryan Rubrick to Calgary. Back-to-back picks. Not bad. There's some picks here where I'm like, yeah, that could probably work out pretty well for those teams IRL. Especially Brady Wasselin to the Bruins. Yes, please. Season 2 is here for the Minnesota Wild, and I don't want to say that last season was our best opportunity at success, but man, it might have been, because this team is hurting with the Kaprizov extension now active. This is what we have at the start of the year for this forward core. A top line of Matt Boldy. Great. Danila Yarov, the Calder winner. Great. He's looking good, right? Certainly that was worth the risk of trying to build him up. And then the previously mentioned Kirill Kaprizov, who again is now making $17 million a season. Oh my God. Second line, Riley Heidt has made this team out of Pure necessity, good skater, good playmaker. I think he should probably have more physicality as well. That's something based off of draft scouting reports we should have edited. But regardless, Joel Eriksson-Ek, second line, obviously, really, really good player. And Daniil Gushchin has made this team a free agent signing for the hell of it. Again, he's here out of necessity. Third line, Marcus Foligno with Hunter Hates, who has also made this team. That one's a little bit more understandable. Decent physicality, skating, right? Like, he's looking pretty good. And then Ryan Hartman on the third line as well. Fourth line is Yakov Trenin with Nico Sturm. And Oscar Olsson has made this team out of necessity. Well, I keep saying that. And why? Because the cap situation right now is a bit rough. But let's talk about how we can alleviate that situation. Defensively, of course, it's Quinn Hughes. Now, obviously, the problem here is I was talking about a deep playoff run to convince him to stay. We got bounced in the first round. I would think, in terms of a real-life scenario, if we don't make at least the conference finals this year, I would imagine he would at least test free agency, and we'll probably replicate that. So we need to do something. He is alongside Brock Faber, who now has 99 passing. He's insane. The second pair, Jonas Brodin, who was awesome last year with Jared Spurgeon, who is still here. But then you get into that third pair of Jacob Middleton, who's probably making a little bit too much money for a third pair defenseman. And then David Jaracek, who wanted a bridge deal, so we gave him a bridge deal. That brings him to the end of his RFA terms, his RFA years, meaning when that deal's up, we'd be able to decide what to do. But obviously that is way too much money for a third pair. But the question is, do we keep Jared Spurgeon to push, or do we drop, him and bump up David Jaracek? Do we drop David Jaracek? Because again, Spurgeon's in the final year of his deal. So we're torn right now between, what's the best deal for the future versus we need to try to win. Goaltending is in that similar conversation. There is a chance that Jesper Wallstedt will not further develop beyond what he is now that he is a starting goalie if he is playing backup minutes, which he is. He's on the last year of his deal. He's still an RFA, but he could certainly go, whereas Gustafsson, man's not going anywhere. Literally, that's just not me deciding it. He's got a no movement clause. He's not going anywhere unless he wanted to, even if I wanted to get rid of him. So he's here. We do have one healthy scratch who will be traded most likely. That is Carson Lambos, who is NHL ready, who is making a little bit of money as well. Also wanted one of those bridge deals, and we just aren't going to get rid of Jacob Middleton, even though he's making a little bit too much money. We're not going to get a good return, and again, I like to try to honor some of these contracts. So Lambos, at the very least, has to go. That'll free up a little bit of cap space. And then maybe, just maybe, we'll wait and see what happens with some of these guys that probably shouldn't be in the NHL lineup. We'll see what happens with them, and at least we'll have money to do something with. But yeah, Jaracek does still have some value. Now, if somehow, some way, we are just not in a playoff spot, we trade Quinn Hughes at the deadline. We trade Spurgeon at the deadline. We do have a decent position of being able to kind of pull the emergency chute if we have to. For Lambos, best we're going to be doing, it looks like, is a 4th round pick. Again, I don't want to take a player back. I do want it to just be a draft pick if we can. Toronto's offering a 5th. Washington's offering a 4th. We'll go from Washington. I feel like he might fit in better there. So, Carson, thank you for your service, even though you were in the AHL last year. Carson Lambos has to go. That leaves us with $4.11 million to spend. But, unfortunately, in terms of free agents, there's really not much out there. So that is why it's okay, let's try with what we have, with who we have. And if we have to make moves, we have to make moves. But the big question will be, come deadline time, what set of moves are we making? Well, before we could even simulate a day, after that trade with Washington, they put Brandon Duhaime on waivers. He's making $1.4 million, which isn't ideal, But truculence, fourth line right wing, when we kind of need a fourth line right wing, I mean, that feels like a good replacement for Olesen. So we are immediately going to trade Duhaime, and just like that, it's as if we got a fourth round pick and Duhaime back in Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken, for Carson Lambos. So that actually ends up working out pretty well. So we'll just drop Olesen down to the AHL. No one's going to claim him anyway. And I can show you what the AHL looks like now, too, because I forgot to do that. So, because we have had quite a few changes there through free agency as well. So there we go. Trennan, Sturm, Duhaime. That's not that bad. He was in Minnesota for a little bit. Yeah, he was there for longer than I thought. In terms of the AHL, the big change here is that the AI, of course, has always dropped a bunch of medium nines. So like Charlie Serrato, we got in from Carolina. Jack Pridham, Chicago didn't sign. There's also Zach Nehring, who Winnipeg didn't sign. So there's a bunch of medium nines like that, including, imagine this, a Koivu in Minnesota. Atos Koivu is there. Montreal didn't sign him. So we'll gladly say thank you very much. And the defense is looking pretty good, too. Of course, Kivi Haru's still there at a low elite. And we have two medium fringe goalies because, as always, Evgeny Volokin never gets signed by Montreal. So why not take advantage of it? I never know what to make of this sim engine, ever. March 1st, 2027, the Minnesota Wild are 41-16-1, a dominant record so far this season, with the third best goals for per game, the fourth lowest goals against average per game, and above average, but middling or towards the middle of the pack, power play and penalty kill. I don't know how to explain this ever in terms of how certain teams do this well. But what we can look at here as we get ready for this trade deadline is the performance so far. Matthew Boldy, 56 points in 58 games. He's outstanding. Danila Yurov is now officially a first-line talent. He has jumped to an 88 overall with 56 points, 40 assists. So, he has wheels, tape to tape, and quick draw. We have a number one center. And Kirill Kaprizov, 67 points in 58 games. Absolutely outstanding. His goal for the year was to win the Rocket Richard Trophy. We'll see if he's in that conversation. Second line, Riley Heidt, 35 points in 58 games and a plus 21. He's been great. Eriksson Ek, 43 points and a plus 28. Daniil Gushchin, 24 goals, 18 assists. I don't know if we have to change anything, actually. Third line, Marcus Foligno, 14 points, 98 penalty. He's a PIM machine. Let's just be honest. He is a penalty machine. I don't know if he'll be here next year for that reason. Hunter Haight, 19 points, minus 10. It's, and then Ryan Hartman, Fourth line, Yakov Trenin, 13 points. He had 13 goals from Nico Sturm, which is stellar, and then 9 points from Brandon Duhaime. So, honestly, the biggest thing we might be looking at is just a different third-line center to send Hunter Haight back down to the AHL for the rest of the year. Defensively, Quinn Hughes, 64 points in 58 games. Outstanding. Brock Faber, the 8 goals, 39 assists. Jonas Brodin has 38 points. Jared Spurgeon has 42. And then that third pair, Middleton, 7 points, 78 penalty minutes. But David Jiricek, 18 points, plus 10, not bad. And he's now a top 4 defenseman. So, again, that development could stall if we try to keep this defense together. He's ready to replace Jared Spurgeon. Maybe we bring back Spurgeon if he's looking for a cheap enough deal and we put him on the third pair. I don't want to change anything about this team right now, but that's something worth considering. And for the goaltenders, Gustafsson, a 908 and a 909 for Wallstead, who has stuck at that 84 overall, which is, again, what I was kind of worried about. But, this team has just been outstanding, right? Kaprizov's rocking a 97 overall. The AHL, again, there's some development that we have had here so far. Guys like Jack Peart and David Spacek are that much closer to being NHL ready. So both teams are looking pretty damn good. What do we change? I know we didn't change anything last year, and in fairness, there really wasn't too much out there for us to get. But that second line was the line I was really concerned about. Riley Heidt and Daniil Gushchin have played their way onto this team, I would think. 24 goals for Daniil Gushchin. Like, if we look around the league, who has 24 goals at this point? Like, what is the caliber of player that he is in the conversation with right now? Connor McDavid is destroying worlds. But if you look at the goals, I mean, we know Kaprizov's there. He's nowhere near the top goal scoring. But if you look at 24 goals, he is in the conversation with Jack Hughes, Artemi Panarin, Alex Tuch, Bo Horvat, quite a few others, and has more goals than Morgan Geekie, Alex DeBrincat, Mason McTavish, freaking Matt Boldy. He's got more goals than Matt Boldy. It's insane. So I think it's another year where we say, okay, the team is probably the team, unless there's this move to be made that is just so undeniable. Like, okay, we'd be stupid not to make that. And I get trusting some of the lower overall guys in the playoffs is a bit scary, because it is. But do we mess with the cohesion that this team has? Dougie Hamilton doesn't want to come here, nor does he want to go to San Jose, apparently. Vince Dunn is there. I mean, the defense needs nothing. Evgeny Malkin doesn't really fit what we need as a third-line center. Tyson Forster doesn't really fit the theme of what we need. I would say if it turned out that we needed another top six forward, then maybe. But even then, like, third line, we could kind of put him there, but Drew Doughty we don't need. Gostisbehere we don't need. Obviously, we're not getting rid of Brodin or Spurgeon. Again, like, do we drop Daniil Gushchin to bring in Brian Rust? I mean, I would say maybe if he was a UFA, but he's not. And if there's the chance we're going to be keeping Quinn Hughes, we need a lot of free money available to be able to sign him. I don't want that $5 million there of Brian Rust. I think we're just kind of going for it. I think we are. In terms of forwards, Lawson Krause, Claude Giroux, Patrick Kane, who's now in LA. There's not really that move. Like, maybe Ryan Donato for the third line, but again, do I want Ryan Donato's $4 million on the, on the cap next year, for lack of a better term? Noah Cates, again, same thing. Cap hit still. I think we're holding. I didn't think we would be, but I think we are. I'm trusting Daniil Gushchin and Riley Heidt to keep Quinn Hughes in Minnesota. I might be the dumbest GM on earth. 52, 27, and 3. Our record in the 2026-2027 season. Funny enough, not good enough to be our division's top team. That is the Colorado Avalanche, thanks to 10 overtime losses. So we will be taking on the Dallas Stars in the first round of the playoffs. But indeed, we have made the playoffs yet again, which is huge. But yeah, we get the little North Star rivalry in this one. In terms of how the players did this season, Kirill Kaprizov hits 50 goals, 95 points. Can't complain about that at all. His first ever 50-goal season. Of course, in the past, had health concerns not been there as much. Probably would have hit 50 by now. Danila Yurov. Again, we have a number one center. 79 points. Outstanding. And Matt Boldy on 76. Did end up scoring more goals than Yurov. Eriksson Ek, 59 points, 29 goals. Look at how many 20-goal scorers we have, including Daniil Gushchin, who scored, well, just 4 goals post-deadline, but still 49 points in the second line, 47 for Height. I can't complain about any of that. Hunter Haight, 29 points. Sturm did great on the fourth line. And all things considered, I don't have too many concerns about this team if they continue to perform to this level. Let's not talk about penalty minute concerns. For Marcus Foligno, he did have 20 fights. It's now 41 fights in 2 seasons. With a CTE there. Defensively, 83 points for Quinn Hughes, so a bit down from what he had last year, but honestly, I would think that's just because others stepped their game up. Spurgeon is still a 58-point defenseman, more than Brock Faber, which is shocking. Brodin was really solid. Yarachek. Again, I can't have too many complaints about this team. Wallstead still an 84. We're probably going to have to deal him at the draft is my thought, because his value is never going to be higher. His overall is going to stunt because he's behind Philip Gustafsson, who we can't get rid of. So this is probably it for Jesper Wallstedt, but this season was more about winning instead of worrying about his development. Otherwise, we could have traded him and might have at the deadline had this team not performed so well, but they were great. In terms of league-wide, this was Connor McDavid's season, but McKinnon, Matthews, Draisaitl, and others, all very, very respectable point totals. In terms of the goal scorers, 75 for Connor McDavid, 70 for Nathan McKinnon. So Kaprizov did score 50. That was good enough for 7th in the league, which is crazy. Defensively, top point getter, it was Cale Makar's season. It's crazy that Quinn Hughes even did what he did last year. Bouchard was also great. So was Josh Morrissey, for that matter. Goaltenders, the winningest, Anthony Stolarz in Toronto as the top shutout leader. Most shutouts, I should say, is Dostal and Karl Vejmelka still in Utah. And in terms of save percentage, it's probably Dostal's season. Save percentages were down quite a bit. Scoring was up. Fairly obvious based off McDavid's point totals. And speaking of, potentially generational talent, although based on the response from the World Juniors, a lot of people are down on Gavin McKenna. But in this game, he is still a beast, and he is going to win the Calder in 2027 over the likes of Berkeley Catton and Zeev Bouillon, 56 points. There is a chance that Vancouver could land on their feet quite well, even if at the time of recording, they are the worst team in the NHL. Credit to Neil Gushchin and Riley Heidt, too. I mean, different season, they could have definitely competed for the Calder. The Dallas Stars stand in our way. There is a lot of pressure on our shoulders here. We cannot afford a scenario like we had against the St. Louis Blues in Season 1. We need to win a couple of rounds here, or Quinn Hughes is probably walking. And the way I'm thinking of lining it up is this. If we make it to the 3rd round, fair game to offer him a contract. 2nd round, let him go to free agency, but then offer him a deal. If we lose in the 1st round again, I think it's totally realistic to say Quinn Hughes would walk away from Minnesota and explore his options. So we need to make it out of this round through this self-imposed challenge here to keep Quinn Hughes. And it's not going to be easy because Dallas is still very, very strong. Roope Hintz, Wyatt Johnson, and Mikko Rantanen. Maverick Bourque, Matt Duchene, and Sam Steele on the 2nd line. Justin Herkawian, Tyler Seguin, and Emil Hemming. And then Samu Tuomala, John Beecher, and Radek Faksa. A couple former Bruins down the middle. Defensively, Esa Lindell and Miro Heiskanen, Ilya Lyubushkin, and Thomas Harley. That's insane. He's on the 2nd pair. Leon Bixel with Timothy Liljegren. Goaltenders, Jake Ottinger, Casey DeSmith, with Ryan Suter, Zach Bogosian, and Travis Hamonic. All healthy scratches. I have nothing else to say. We need to win this round. Bare minimum, we need to win this round, or it's another horrific failure, and Quinn Hughes walks. And Eriksson Ek did score less than a minute in, which is great, and Kirill Kaprizov scored as well. I like how we're paused, and it just kept going anyway. But we have 2 goals in that time, and we added one more. Eriksson Ek starts and ends that 1st period. You recall last year against St. Louis, we were up, 3-4-0 at the end of the 1st period of Game 1? Then what happened? Let's not have that happen again. 2nd period. 3rd period. Thank you, God. The Minnesota Wild have won a playoff game. Brock Faber's empty netters seals the deal. Great performance from him, Eriksson Ek, and Philip Gustafsson in goal. And we have won a playoff game. It's worth repeating. After last year's just complete and utter disaster. Good for Phil as well to get that win, because I was very tempted, actually, to start Wallstedt based off of his performance in the playoffs last year. 1st period of Game 2, Boldy and Foligno start off the scoring for us. Seguin gets a goal in the 2nd, and it's a goal apiece in the 3rd. So Brandon Duhaime's 3rd period goal holds up as the winner as we defend home ice and take the first 2 games of this series. And old Philip Gustafsson is doing quite well to kick off this series. Who needs Vladimir Tarasenko and Matt Zuccarello, apparently. Game number 3, not changing anything about this lineup. Why would I? First period, 1-0 Minnesota, Kirill Kaprizov. Second period, it's a goal apiece, and it was another goal for Kaprizov. And in the third period, Dallas does tie it. Overtime, Quinn Hughes, baby. Fighting to stay on this team. The Minnesota Wild have a 3-0 series lead. One win away from at least being able to submit an offer to Quinn Hughes to try to convince him to stay. Thankfully. It's insane this team is technically weaker than it was last year by overall, but it's performing that much better. First period of Game 4, 1-0 Dallas. Second period, Minnesota strikes back. Quinn Hughes on the power play, then Yakov Trenin and Kirill Kaprizov. Third period, the Minnesota Wild, from the swept to the sweeper to the sweepee. We sweep the Dallas Stars in the first round, and it at least guarantees us a shot at trying to convince Quinn Hughes to stay here. At the moment, he'll still go to free agency unless we can win this next round, but that is a great way to start. Very bizarre that we get swept by St. Louis, but then we're weaker, and then we sweep Dallas, who had a better roster than St. Louis last year. I don't know what to make of it. Quinn Hughes was excellent. Kaprizov, Faber, Boldy. I certainly have no complaints. We had quite a few players without a point in that series, including the likes of Height, Hartman, Yarachek as well. But goaltending-wise, what a series. What a series for Gus. He was phenomenal. And with that, again, round number 2 on the horizon. And it certainly looks like it's going to be Nathan MacKinnon and the Colorado Avalanche. Nashville does take Game 5. What about Game 6? Nashville forces a 7th. Okay, we're alive. Who's it going to be in the second round? Of course, it's the Colorado Avalanche, who survive a 7-game thriller. Shout out to the Iowa Wild for making it to the playoffs and further advancing. They're off to the second round to play the Rockford Ice Hogs. Very, very nice there. We know what Colorado is going to look like. Top line is Brock Nelson, Nathan MacKinnon, and Martin Necas. Why would they be playing Brock Nelson there? Whatever. If I sit here and go about the AI and the brain-dead ways they set up teams, we'd be here all day. Valerian Nichushkin, Ross Colton, and Arturi Lehkonen. Gabriel Landeskog, Colton Sissons, and Logan O'Connor. Gavin Brindley, Jack Drury, and Parker Kelly. Defensively, Devon Taves and Cale Makar. Rasmus Anderson and Sam Girard, Sean Behrens with Josh Manson. They signed Anderson to a 6-year deal, $7 million per, full no movement clause. That's a great deal for Rasmus Anderson. Wow. Colorado discount, I guess. Goaltenders Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood. And as scratches, Jacob Melanson, Sammy Blais, and Robert Bortuzzo. Do I think we can win this? Yes. Am I confident we're going to win this? Let's see what happens. First period of Game 1, goal apiece. Matt Boldy started it off for us. Second period, goal apiece. Danila Yurov was able to tie it. Third period, it fell apart. MacKinnon, Drury, Taves. Colorado takes Game 1, 5-2. That's not what we wanted to see, honestly. That is pretty rough. Colorado, the highest scoring team this postseason, averaging over 4 goals per game, and they scored 5 there. We'll trust Gus again for Game 2, but if we lose this one, we might need a change. First period, 2-1 Avs. Kaprizov started off the scoring, and we couldn't keep up the momentum. Second period, Kaprizov again, but we're down 4-2. Third period, valiant effort for Quinn Hughes and Riley Height, but too little too late. Colorado defends home ice in the first 2 games. We allow 5 goals in back-to-back games. And despite Gus's really strong effort in that first round, he's down to a .909 save percentage. We got to see if Wallstead can stop this scoring machine that we're seeing from Colorado here. Defensively, Hughes and Faber are looking okay. We're going to bump up Yarechek with Brodin and put Middleton with Spurgeon. And from a forwards perspective, that second line hasn't done much compared to what they had done previously. That third line, really, I mean, outside of the top line, we are not getting that much scoring. So we're going to swap Sturm with Haight. Oh, God, did we bump up Marcus Foligno? I'm worried about the Pims. But let's go Foligno, Eriksson, Ecken, Hartman, Haight, Sturm, and Gushchin. Yes, because at least it's only a -1. It's worth a shot. It's worth a shot. I mean, yeah. Let's try it. We got to try something different after those first 2 games. I mean, you could argue all we need is, a bit more stability in goal. But first period of game 3, 2-0 Colorado. Second period, 3-0 Colorado. We get 1 goal, but it's too little too late. Avalanche win 4-1, and they have a 3-0 series lead. As it stands, Quinn Hughes will at least go to the open market unless we can reverse sweep the Colorado Avalanche. Let's go back to what brought us to the dance here. Even though it hasn't necessarily worked so far this series, just go back to what's worked, and we'll see if they can pull off a miracle. And if not, we kind of know what lies ahead. Game 4, first period, 2-0 Avs. Man, just a complete role reversal from the Dallas series. Trennan gets a goal in the second, and the Colorado Avalanche have swept the Minnesota Wild in the second round. It's enough for us to at least think that maybe Quinn Hughes could be back, but we do not get to control our destiny on that. And obviously, we can't sort out round to round, which is insane to me, by the way. That's been an NBA for years. I wish I could see what our numbers were exactly in the second round. Obviously, you can check for every individual player, but I want to see it for everybody. The big story, of course, is, Gus went from a 941, I think it was, to a 903. And, Wallstead in his final performance for this team didn't do all that much. So, not to mention Hunter Haight, Ryan Hartman without a point in those 8 games. This was the last year of Hartman's deal as well. Most likely goodbye to you, good sir. Well, if there's one positive, the Colorado Avalanche did go on to win the Stanley Cup, while the Syracuse Crunch took home this year's Calder Cup. So, did lose to the eventual Cup winners, if that helps at all, as they beat Washington in 5 games. Turns out their toughest competition was Nashville in the first round. Who would have guessed? In terms of the awards for this year, individually, Connor McDavid wins the Art Ross. He also wins the Hart. The Norris does go to Cale Makar. Calder to Gavin McKenna. Conn Smythe to Nathan McKinnon. Dobesh wins the Vezina. Wow. I thought for sure Dostal was going to win that. Let's see. Jack Adams to Marco Sturm. We could only hope. Selke Trophy to Sidney Crosby. Ted Lindsay Award to McDavid, as well as the Rocket Richard. In the AHL, Ivar Stenberg was the top point getter. He was league MVP. It's Carson Rakoff, I think. Might be Cole Rakoff. I think it's Carson. Top goal scorer. Stenberg was the top rookie as well. Mr. Buchinger, I think it's Michael Buchinger, was the top defenseman. Jonas Johansson, top goaltender. And I do not know Mr. Saaralainen's first name. It's probably Juho, something like that. But he was the MVP of the Calder Cup winning team. So now we set our sights on this draft, and there's certainly a lot more to do this year than the prior in terms of certain moves and, again, certain players. Now, I said we would probably, number one, Quinn Hughes is going to the open market, but man, if there's a trade, if there is a trade that makes sense, then maybe, just maybe, we say, okay, maybe if it's worthwhile, we take a guarantee as opposed to, say, at best, a 50-50 shot to be able to sign him in free agency. At least we need to take a look, right? So off to the draft we go. Islanders have another first overall pick. First things first, Quinn Hughes' trade value is still pretty high. It's not a full bar. Morgan Frost, Raquel a third and a fourth, Christensen a medium elite, and Brett Howden a second and a third. Who is this Christensen guy on Tampa? Who are you? 56 overall at 19. Okay, so needless to say, we'll still be trying to resign Quinn Hughes. We do, of course, have our first round pick this year as well. So first order of business, it has to happen. Jesper Wallstedt. He did jump to an 87, in fairness. That's not bad. He also developed an ability. He's now an elite goaltender. Okay, normally, in my experiences with this game, we haven't been seeing players jump like that, but he does take a nice step forward. But God, how much is he going to ask for? And think about how much money Quinn Hughes is going to want. The only positive here is that he's an RFA. Nobody even wants him. So we might have to wait and see what happens with Quinn Hughes before we make a decision there. Especially, too, at least we have Volokin, who's about ready to go. Defensively, if we take a look here, again, Spurgeon's deal is up. We're going to wait to see how much he's looking for. Might not be able to bring him back, and in that case, Yarachek steps in, taking the money. And again, you can see how upset he was about playing on a third pair, right? He steps in for Spurgeon at that point. So in terms of other trade values, I mean, Kiviharju, he's starting to be worth something. He might make the NHL this year. He's already a depth player. He's just not going to be worth that much. Yeah, I mean, a third-round pick. Yeah, I mean, we might as well just hold on to him for now in case he gets even better. Right wing side. Gushchin actually has some value now, which, yeah, he should. He had a really, really good season. The question is he worth flipping for 2 third-round picks, or do we have confidence in him? I mean, we don't know how much money he's going to ask for. But yeah, how the hell did Nikita Zadorov end up on the Islanders? Interesting. But yeah, 2 third-round picks is what we could get for Gushchin. I mean, from a free agent, nobody else wanted the 2 third-round picks. That's a pretty good redemption project there. Left wing side, Foligno just takes way too many pims. So regardless of what the return is for him, which looks like at best a 4th rounder, 3rd rounder from Montreal, including Sam Montembeault, who will drop. Yeah, I mean, we got to move on from him. Jesus Christ, Matthew Schaefer and Landon DuPont on the same team. Could you imagine? Islanders literally are playing franchise mode. But yeah, Foligno simply takes way too many penalties. He's got to go. Best thing we can get in return is that 3rd rounder from Montreal, and we'll drop Sam Montembeault. Foligno is off to the Habs. Needed to be done. And then for centers, good improvement for height. You got Stramel, Hates up there. Obviously, like Hartman and Sturm's deals are up, so they're not worth that much. Is Trennan's deal up? He's got 1 year left, doesn't he? Yeah, he does that. Man, he's making 3.5. And we're playing him on the 4th line. Brother, you're entering the last year of your deal. You're not safe anymore. We got to clear out that space. So, I mean, a 4th rounder, a 3rd rounder from Edmonton, a 3rd rounder from New Jersey by way of Detroit, an outright 3rd rounder this year from Colorado, which means it's at the end of the 3rd. Tampa's there too, and then Winnipeg. I mean, I'd like to send him to the East so he's less likely to harm us. So we'll send Yakov Trenin to New Jersey for a 3rd round pick. I mean, again, we've been playing him on the 3rd line, or a 4th line. If we were playing him higher up, then whatever. But that is just too much damn money. And again, we need to free up money for Quinn Hughes if we are going to try to keep him, which we are. Can we get anything for Ryan Hartman's signing rights? Just an Ilmir Romanov. So no. Height and Hate are going to stay. I can't imagine we could get anything for Nico Sturm, and we can't. So we are probably done, unless we wanted the 2 third-round picks for Daniil Gushchin. But having him as our 2nd-line right wing next season might not be the worst thing in the world. You know, with the improvements that he made. Maybe he is that guy. Because right now, the top 6 is shaping up to still be Kaprizov, Boldyurov, Eriksson Ek, Height, Gushchin. It's not great. Like, Duhaime will still be here. Let me take a look at cap hit, by the way. I wouldn't mind moving out Brandon Duhaime, entering the last year of his deal. I think, free up that cap space. So a 4th rounder from Dallas. 4th rounder in Scott LaChance. 3rd rounder, including that one from Tampa. That's pretty good. The 80th from the Jet. We'll send Brandon Duhaime back to the Eastern Conference. He'll go to Tampa. And we'll shed that little bit of extra salary again. And these other guys are on 2-way deals. Sturm and Hartman's deals are up. Defensively, of course, we know Hughes, Spurgeon, that they're going to be gone. Alexei Joseph is on his way. Man, yet again, Sharks get another great forward when they really needed the defenseman. So, go figure. I think we've done about all we can do right now, unless we were to move David Jaracek and say, no, Jared Spurgeon's our guy. Jaracek could get us some already established prospects, a couple second-round picks, but no first, like Spurgeon could have last year. And again, Gustafsson is going to be our guy. We do have offers for Wallstead now, including Noah Cates. Philly really wants him. Pittsburgh wants him, but I don't want. 2 third-rounders in Denver, Barkey. Like, come on, we can do better than that. So I think from there, we'll just make our picks. I'm not really interested in going out and trying to trade for any, prospects that other teams... Yeah, maybe not, though. Maybe not. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. I didn't mean to back out there. Are there any teams that are getting rid of any, reclamation projects or any interesting prospects? Like Montreal is getting rid of Jarkovsky, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world or the worst player in the world to get. Mathis Preston. Getting someone like Preston I'm perfectly fine with because, again, he was a 2026 pick, but what would they want for him? Height, Hallquist, and a 3rd. It's tough to say that's a bad deal, but Riley Height did really well for us, it'd be tough to get rid of him just because, this guy has a better, potential. It's like, yeah, he does, but, we got to value what we already had there. No one on the Islanders that we'd want. Rangers with Sikora. Thomas Chabot. Well, if we weren't confident in keeping Quinn Hughes, we could apparently try to trade for Thomas Chabot, but yeah, not for Danila Yurov in a first. That's not happening. Noah Cates as a 3rd-line center could be pretty good, but Hunter Haight might be stepping in to that role and would be cheaper. And again, with how much money we are trying to make sure we have for a potential Quinn Hughes deal, and it's pretty much looking like there's not a whole lot out there that I'm going to be overly interested in. Major reclamation project like we've seen in other challenges where teams are just like, yeah, no, take this guy for no reason. So we'll keep looking, though, really quickly. There were a couple of guys there. A guy named Scuderi off to Pittsburgh. Go figure. And we'll go in reverse order this time. Does LA have anybody? No. We can't really afford to pay any defenders based on who we already have. Nygaard, Bear, Kiiskinen. When was Kiiskinen taken? Yeah, 2023 already. Jesus. Columbus, Matthew Olivier. Looks like we're probably just going through this draft. Again, there's a couple of moves we could probably make right now. Shout out to Sharon Govich, who's really turned it around. There's a couple of moves we could probably make right now, but we don't have to make them, so why would we? The Devils do want to trade the 4th overall pick, though. Obviously, Quinn Hughes could be used here. But what do we even have outside of our own first rounder? If we were moving Jaracek, maybe, Gushchin wouldn't be enough. But we could pair Gushchin that first and maybe someone else? Yeah, we really don't have that many people to pair with these with these picks to try to move up. So I don't think that Devils deal is happening either. We're going to go ahead and simulate to the 25th pick. We'll look back through what the first round has been so far. And they ended up taking an elite grinder and Brulette, whatever the hell. Pelosi, Jacobson, Batal off to St. Louis. Blonda to Chicago. Brock Cripps to Philly. Fitzhenry gone. Scantleberry. Neuenschwander. Okay, so 25th overall. Who are we going to focus on for this draft? Cohen Eschquahogan, 2 years out. Dorian Eklund-Asp, allegedly NHL ready. What about Schaefer Gordon Carroll? 1 year out. That's not bad. Jamie Glantz, 1 year out as well. Lemons, a bunch of these guys listed as 1 year out. 2 for Privilov. Beertus, apparently close to NHL ready. Liljeberg. There's a lot of guys. Kukasjärvi, 1 year out as well. What about Zach Arsenault? Man, all of these guys apparently are right around... Man, all of them are right around the same caliber of 1 year out and looking pretty damn good. Sheesh, we might have to check. And again, like unconfirmed, Bossemeyer. What a name. Who else? 2 years out, 2 years. NHL ready for Frederick Sedin. And Nathaniel Chizek, of course, as a goalie, ends up being really, really good. Okay, and it finally drops off from there. Right. So centers. Gordon Carroll, potentially 1 year out. No weaknesses for Miska Liljeberg. Eklund-Asp is apparently just character. No weaknesses for Meyer. No weaknesses for Lemons. I mean, do we take the guys that are 1 year out or potentially the guys that are unconfirmed NHL ready? They are probably about the same, if I had to guess. Left wing side is just O.C. McIntyre. Right wing side was Arsenault, Kaznikov, and Glantz. And then defensively, Kukasjärvi, Kochlier, Freddie Sedin, and Dominic Beertus. Sedin screams computer generated to me. And then Chizek is a goalie, but I mean, man, we're kind of tied to who we have in goal already. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think we can really go wrong, regardless of what we do. Looking positionally, I mean, like a right-wing sniper could be pretty good, especially if he is close to being ready. Based on what Daniil Gushchin's doing, we're not really going to have room for another defenseman anytime soon, unless we lose Quinn Hughes, in which case Beertus could be pretty good for us. I mean, really, any of these guys, it is a crapshoot. It truly is. We're going to go for the big man, though, out of Djurgården, Dorian Eklund-Asp. And, yeah, 75 overall, medium top 6. Not bad, though. Plays center, plays right. That's just a solid player to get. But the question is, and again, we don't have a second-round pick, how are the rest of these guys looking in the first? Glantz, Lamons, Gordon Carroll. All of them are about the same. Yeah, all those guys are about the same. So trading up with the Islanders, if any of those dudes are left, could be worth it, and plenty of them are left. Could even trade up with Nashville or Anaheim. So don't be surprised if we end up, and actually here, I'll stick with this for the moment, because up to pick 45 could still be useful. So Chicago has 2 second-round picks back-to-back. Can we get both of those picks? Probably not. Yeah, the values are still too high. Okay, I think we're probably done with this particular draft. Season 3. Now, I know some of you will be disappointed that I did my typical just jump to the end and recap what happened, as opposed to going live with it, so to speak, and walking you through the entire process of what happened to Quinn Hughes. But ultimately, I feel like this is way more dramatic. The question is, did we or did we not keep Quinn Hughes? And the answer, drum roll please, is no. You should be seeing on screen, if I remember to edit, how much he was asking for, which was an absurd amount. The offer that I then sent, which was an absurd amount, nearly $20 million a season, and he still said no. So Quinn Hughes is gone. Not to mention I tried to keep Jared Spurgeon once Quinn Hughes said no, and he said no. And Jared Spurgeon moved on after we initially were going to let him go, but of course then we had the Quinn Hughes money to spend. Yeah, no, it's a kick in the teeth, but honestly, it's what we deserve. This team blew it in 2 straight seasons. So Quinn Hughes is now a member of the Chicago hockey team with a bonkers $17.355 million per 6-year deal with a full no movement clause. We offered him more. He elected to go to Chicago, and Jared Spurgeon ends up with the New York Islanders in a pretty ridiculous defense. He would have been a good third pairing guy for us this year, but again, he elected not to sign with us. It is what it is. So the team this year, at least to start, we got Boldy, Urov, and Kaprizov, right? Still think this can be a heck of a top line. No real concerns about that. Second line is once again Riley Heidt with Joel Eriksson-Ek and Daniil Gushchin, which I'm worried about because what are the odds they can do, have a repeat performance? Third line, we signed Lawson Krause because he's basically Marcus Foligno without the penalties, at least to the same level. Hunter Haidt and Charlie Serrato has made this team a Carolina draft pick that they dropped. He's got 95 passing as a playmaker. I mean, we'll see what he can do. And a fourth line of Caden Bonkia. Or Bankier. I'm going with Bonkia. Bonkia. I don't even know what I'm... Caden. Old CB. Alongside Nico Sturm and Jack Pridham, who has also made this team. We by the time Quinn Hughes rejected us, there was no money or nobody left to spend the money on. We have a cap whale in the AHL to be cap compliant. The defense, of course, you've already seen. We got to just try to brute force the development of Aaron Kiviharju with Brock Faber. Kivi's still a low elite. Second pair, Jonas Brodin has plummeted in rating, down to an 81 and a top 6 player despite back-to-back 40-point seasons. I don't know. David Yarachek rocking an 82. Could argue we didn't make the right calls with him either. And then Jacob Middleton has also kind of plummeted in rating. The morale's a bit low, but yeah, he's plummeted in rating next to David Spacek. So pretty much anything that could go wrong has gone wrong. But we did elect to spend money to keep Jesper Wallstedt once Quinn Hughes rejected the deal. Now, he is making $6.8 million for this year and next. And of course, you would have seen briefly, is an elite goalie. So is Philip Gustafsson, but since Wallsted's the guy, the higher rated of the two, he's going to be developing enough that, well, given that we don't have anybody else to spend the money on, we might as well just go for it. Probably just trade Yevgeny Volokin to get something for him. The AHL, we don't have a ton, admittedly. Bunch of medium 9s, high 9s, stuff like that. But no super high-end prospects. I mean, Dorian Eklanasp is probably the top guy, and a couple of low 6s towards the bottom there. Defensively, medium 6, about the best that we have. It's a bit of a rough spot to be in. And then Chase Wutzke with Javon Cullen. Now, in terms of how the rest of the draft went, this is maybe the one positive I can find from this offseason is that we did a good job of finding some medium elite goalies in that draft. Rodney Darling was a 3rd-round pick. Akam Klein was a 4th-rounder. So we do have some assets with at least a little bit of trade value, but I don't really see how we recover after losing Quinn Hughes despite our best efforts to keep him. But again, we wanted that element of you got to earn it to keep him because that's kind of where Minnesota is right now. So the one thing I do want to move forward with right now is just shopping Volokin, and we can get a 6th rounder from the Dallas Stars. Perfect. Because otherwise, again, he'll be in the AHL, might not develop properly. So Evgeny Volokin is gone. We're going to see how this team can do. We have assets to trade if it looks like this team's worth investing in. And we have some assets to trade if it turns out that this team is not worth investing in. And, you know, we could maybe flip some people. You know, Gushchin, Riley Heidt might be, you know, one-season wonders, particularly in Gushchin's case. Lawson Krause is signed to a one-year deal. So if any positive is to be found at this stage too, we have maneuverability. You know, Jonas Brodin could be dealt at the deadline for whatever he's worth. So yeah, I'm trying to find a bandage to say, hey, yeah, Quinn Hughes, we're going to be okay, even though he's got, no, we probably aren't. What is there to even say? Quinn who? 43, 15-2 as of March 1st. We lose a 60, 70-plus point defenseman, and here we are in first place in our division. Matt Boldy's up to a 93 with 36 goals and 59 assists. Needless to say, that top line is as advertised, 95 points before the trade deadline. Had a career high of 91 from season 1. Danila Urov, 9 goals, 75 assists. Already has a new career high in points. And then Kirill Kaprizov just decided to score 65 goals in 60 games. Just because. Just because. After scoring 50 last year, he's already got 100 points. Goal per game, over a goal per game pace. Insanity. Riley Heidt, 53 points, 43 assists. Outstanding. Had 47 points last year. Ridiculous. Eriksson Ek, 54 points, 34 goals? Pretty ridiculous. Daniil Gushchin, 36 points, 20 goals. Not too bad. Pretty close to the pace he had last year. Third line, Lawson Krause, 20 points. It's okay. Hunter Haight, 20 points. That's all right. And 23 for Charlie Serrato. Not bad. Fourth line, Caden Bonkia with 19 points and a plus 15. 17 points for Nico Sturm. 15 goals, 8 assists for Jack Bredum. This team's cooking. It's insane. I mean, the top line's doing some heavy lifting. This team is cooking. Defensively, Kivi Haru, 9 goals, 14 assists, only 23 points, but a plus 20 is not bad. It's been Brock Faber stepping up, carrying the weight, 53 assists on the year. Jonas Brodin still putting up points despite the overall drop. David Yarachek, decent little breakout, 36 assists. That's outstanding. Jacob Middleton, 14 points. David Spacek on 11. And in terms of the goaltenders, Wallstead a 909 and Gustafsson a sub 900. So, of course, goaltenders just continue to be voodoo. This team just continues to be voodoo. As you see some of the improvements here, including Rigor Lawrence, who has stepped up to be fourth line worthy at this point. I don't know if we'll immediately play him. I mostly wanted to check roles there. I don't know if we'll play him immediately or save him for the end of the year, because that would involve... That would involve swapping him and Pridham, but Pridham's got 15 goals. I think we keep Pridham in there. So what do we do with the deadline? I don't know. I really don't know, because this team should not be in this position, I would say. Could be, yet again, third year in a row that we just kind of head to the deadline, be a little bit patient, see what deals might be there. If the right deal is there to be made, we jump on it. Otherwise, we stay patient. Thomas Chabot is available. He's on an expiring deal. They'd want Urov or Riley Height in 2 firsts. I mean, that's a lot. Dougie Hamilton doesn't want to come here. He's clause protected. Trevor Moore. What's the cost for Trevor Moore? First, a second in Middleton. Darling, a second. Middleton, I mean, the thing is, we'd probably be playing more on the third line, so, moron. Nick Schmaltz. I mean, sub him out for Gushchin? There's no deals there really to be found. Pellick, Barbashev. I think, again, we're looking at just kind of keeping the status quo and seeing what happens from there. There just isn't all that much overly interesting in terms of prospects. Someone like Darling or Klein, it'll be better. Yeah, it'll be much better to trade them at the draft proper. We should be able to get better draft capital for them. And in terms of expiring deals, I mean, Wallstead could be moved at the draft. Yeah, look at the value boost for Yarechek. Brodin, I mean, we could flip, but again, he's playing well. It's probably his last year here. Second or third, Ryabkin. I mean, certainly not the worst offers in the world, but if he's playing this well, what would we rather have? A defenseman playing well or 2 second-round picks, knowing that we'd have to give up something to then replace him, you know? Gushchin, expiring deal. He's an RFA at the end of it, so, you know, yeah, we could trade him for a second or third now, but I think, again, we can look at the draft, maybe decide whether or not we're keeping him or not, and Kaprizov with that max value. Suppose Lawson Krause is the only big name. I think we just keep this team the same and continue to run with it. It might cost us, but I think it's our best play. Well, we slipped up down the stretch a little bit, but 54, 26, and 2, the Minnesota Wild are back in the postseason. But we were 4 points shy of Colorado, who had 12 Bettman points, aka overtime or shootout losses. So 110 points was not enough to be the top team in our division, which is insane, meaning that we'll be playing the Dallas Stars in the opening round of this postseason. But look at this. This is just ridiculous. Out of nowhere, the offense explodes. Look at that top line. 90 goals in 82 games for Kirill Kaprizov. I have not changed the settings throughout this series. It's what it's always been on, and he just does that. Boldy on 121 points. Yurov on 105 with 95 assists. Even Eriksson Ek, 43 goals. I mean, Height and Gushchin, I can't be disappointed in at all. Pridham, 29 points on the fourth line. Just a real down year for goaltending, apparently. Brock Faber really stepped up in the absence of Quinn Hughes. And Kivy didn't do too much next to him, but he's up to an 81. That's really not that bad. And Yarechek and Brodin, pretty damn good too. But yeah, Wallstead at a 905, and man, that could be one of the better save percentages in the league. Let's take a look now that the regular season's done. Nathan MacKinnon, though, is going to win the scoring title by 1 point. He had 93 goals. Kaprizov's not even winning the Rocket Richard. He scored 90 goals. And he's not the top goal scorer in the league. How is this possible? I swear to God, I feel like I'm in Bizarro World. Getting over that frickin' illness, haircut, and shave, and it's a new day, and it's a new dawn, and yet it's the same existence for Minnesota Wild fans of just repeatedly getting punched in the collective balls. You guys aren't allowed to have anything. My God. Frickin' Nathan MacKinnon ruining my life. Defensively, Makar was insane. Fox was insane. Hughes had a great season in Chicago. Even rating, though. Suck it. Minus 41 for Zach Werenski. Biblically accurate, because, God damn it, can the Blue Jackets finally do something? For the goaltenders, Blackwood was the winningest. Shutout leader was Jacob Fowler. For save percentage among starters, it's Fowler at a 915. Anything above a 905 was pretty good, to say the least. And for the rookies, it's probably going to be Axel Sandin Pellikka or Caleb Denoyer winning the Calder. Denoyer would probably be my shout as well because of the plus-minus and how this game typically works. We'll see, though. And then for goaltenders, Sebastian Costa was up there. 37 wins, 34 for Fowler. Honestly, Jacob Fowler might win it. The Calder. And the Vezina, for that matter. in the same year. Okay, playoffs. Again, 3 seasons, 3 trips to the postseason. But we have not yet gotten to where we want to get to, have we? The top scoring team in the NHL in the regular season, the top power play. The PK left a little bit to be desired. But let's take a look at our opposition. It is the Dallas Stars. Damn. All right, Jared McCann, Wyatt Johnston, and Mikko Rantanen. Matt Duchene, Rupe Hintz, and Ross Colton. Bobby McMahon, Maverick Bourque, Emil Hemming, and Samu Tuomala, Tyler Seguin, and Beck Mallinston. Defense is Thomas Harley Thomas, Miro Heiskanen. Second pair, Ilya Lyubushkin and Esa Lindell. Leanne Bixel with Artem Zub. Goaltender is Ottinger. This is oh boy, this is a first-round matchup, isn't it? Thanks a lot to the Bettman system. Good Lord, this is a first-round matchup. Let's see what happens. I'm going to leave the team the same. I don't want to say we're playing with house money, but it's like, hey, we know what this team's capable of. Let's see what happens as Serrato gets his first ever playoff goal. Dallas takes the lead in the second, and we get just 1 goal on Ottinger. Top scoring team in the regular season, and we're held to 1 goal in game number 1. I got a bad feeling about this series already. A real bad feeling about this series. Game number 2, Derek Jeter. First period, 2 goals for us there. Boldy and Kaprizov, not bad. Second period, we add 2 more. Brodin and Kaprizov again. And 2 more in the third. Hunter Haight and Daniil Gushchin. Lyubushkin ruins the shutout, but it's a nice bounce-back win, 6-1. Not too bad. Yarchek, nice little basket of apples with 3 assists. You know, we're 2 games into a first-round series when we've had aspirations of making a conference final for the past 2 years. I can't get overly excited for a round 1 win, but hey, I'm happy about it, certainly. Game 3, first period, no goals scored. Second period, hello, Riley Heidt, Brock Faber, and Eriksson Ek. Heidt on the power play, very nice. Third period, look at that, we don't blow it. Riley Heidt again, and Matt Boldy on the power play. There is that high fire-powered offense. A 5-0 victory. Riley Height, but the other guys hate, Hunter Haight, Riley. I'm going with Height, even if it's not right, because otherwise it's absurd that Minnesota has 2 guys with the last name pronounced Haight, even if it's spelled differently. You see what I mean? We go to game number 4, and all of a sudden things are looking okay. We've outscored them 11-1. After dropping the first game of this series, so not too bad at all. This could be a big-time game 4 as Ottinger's numbers have dipped. First period, 1-1. Hunter Haight with the goal for us. We get another one. Dude, Riley Height, have yourself a series. And the Minnesota Wild. How do you like that? How do you like that? Jesper Wallstedt, a really strong performance. That second line is killing it. We are 1 win away from the next round. 15 goals over the last 3 games? We got 3 opportunities to end this sumbitch. It is game number 5. First period, 1-0 Dallas. Second period, we tie it at 1, David Yarachek. Third period, we go to overtime. Jonas Brodin saves the day. In overtime, Brock Faber short-handed. This series is over. The Minnesota Wild. I'm going to be honest, after losing Quinn Hughes, man, I don't know if I had confidence that we were going to win a playoff series, let alone make the playoffs. But here we are. We are indeed going to the second round after a really stellar first round matchup. David Yarachek leading the team in points. But Matt Boldy, Riley Height was up there. I mean, Kaprizov was outperformed and outscored by both Boldy and Riley Height. Scored as many goals in that series as Jonas Brodin. I imagine if Kaprizov wakes up and gets back to regular season form, what could be in store for us? Now, taking a look there at the playoffs, Chicago has forced a Game 7. Colorado or Utah? Boy, that sounds like a familiar question, doesn't it? And the answer is Utah this time. Okay. We like playing Utah instead, I think. Also, the Iowa Wild moving on to the second round. Not bad at all. But it will be Utah up next. It is Edmonton and Vancouver as well. In the East, you got Toronto, Florida, Carolina, and Montreal. So the Utah Mammoth have eliminated the Colorado Avalanche, who in a way cost us Quinn Hughes. The Mammoth look like this: Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley, and Dylan Guenther, Nick Schmaltz, Barrett Hayton, and J.J. Peterka, Daniel Boo, Ati Jaginla, and Victor Olofsson, Josh Anderson, Jack McBain, and Vadim Moros. Defense: Mikhail Sergachev, Sean Dursey, Maverick Lamoureux, and Nate Schmidt, Dmitry Simashev, and Artem Duda. Goaltender: Karl Vamelka. Scratches of Caleb Denoyer not playing. Interesting. Sonny Milano and Emil Vinny. If we can beat that Dallas team, we can win this series. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. First period of game one, we're up 3-1. We surrendered the opening goal, but it's Boldy Bankier. Very nice. Second period. Oh my God, this team right now. Pridham, Boldy, and Serrato. Third period, and why not? Hunter Haight adds a seventh. We had a very slow start in game one against Dallas, but since then, this team is just firing on all cylinders offensively. It's a hat trick from Matt Boldy. We're loving life right now. Absolutely loving life right now. Although hopefully it's not the inverse of the last series where we, lost game one and then 1-5, and then this time we win game one and then get pooped on from here. Hopefully we can avoid that. Game number 2, first period, 2 goals for Eriksson Ek. Second period, we add another one. This time it's Kaprizov. Third period, dude, this team right now. Oh my God. Gushchin, Haight, and Pridham. 6-2. We're up 2-0 in this series. David Yarachek, man, thank God we didn't trade you. You have been insane this postseason so far. As, man, we have 13 goals in 2 games. Outscored them 13-4 on home ice. Lineup stays the same. Game number 3, first period, 2-1. It's Yurov and Gushchin. Second period, still 2-1. Third period, the Minnesota Wild are 1 win away from the Western Conference Final. Was Quinn Hughes the problem? People are asking. This is nuts, man. Absolutely crazy. Game 4. Can we knock out the team that upset Colorado? First period. I'm going to have to send like a fruit basket or something to the Utah Mammoth front office, to every member of that team for knocking out Colorado. Eriksson Ek, Boldy, and 2 for Kaprizov. Second period, Boldy adds another one. The Minnesota Wild wipe the floor with the Utah Mammoth, an extinction-level event, as Jesper Wallstedt gets the 39-save shutout, and we are indeed going to the Western Conference Final to take on the Edmonton Oilers. That matchup is already confirmed, and that's a little bit scary, but look at these numbers so far. Look at David Yarachek. He's outperforming Brock Faber all of a sudden. This is madness. Yet Spacek, dude, Kivy Hart, how? You are on the top pair. You have power play time. You don't have a point in 9 games where we're averaging over 4 goals a game? Okay. It doesn't make sense at all, but sure. Sure. We're waiting to see if it's Carolina or Montreal in the Eastern Conference, as the Iowa Wild are going to the conference final down in the AHL. This is lining up to perhaps be a very memorable season. Montreal has forced Game 7. And your final 4, Edmonton, Minnesota, Florida, and Carolina, as the Canadian teams are bounced. You see there the per-game metrics. Best offense, best defense, best power play, best penalty kill. But it's the Edmonton Oilers. And we know what awaits us. Top line, Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and Zach Hyman. Charlie Coyle with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Andrew Mangiapane. Vasily Podkolzin, Adam Henrique, and Kasperi Kapanen. Matt Savoy, whatever you prefer. Sam Steele, and Matthias Janmark. That is so similar 3 years in. That's such an Oilers team. Defensively is Ekholm and Bouchard, Wallman and Nurse, Emberson, and Bo Aki. Goaltender, Tristan Jarry. We cannot do, and Trent Frederick is a scratch. We cannot do what we have done so far. Apparently the trade clause was messed up. Only to lose to Tristan Jarry, right? First period of game 1, 3-1 Wild. Eriksson, Kaprizov, and Gushchin. Second period, Oilers get one back. Third period, Oilers tie it up. Overtime, Oilers win it. Not ideal. Not ideal in the slightest. That's the first time this postseason we have absolutely let a game get away from us. That's a fairly inexcusable loss right there. And our PK dropped as well. So, game number 2. No changes yet. I'm going to guess the Iowa Wild have been eliminated. First period, 3-0 Minnesota. Serrato, Boldy, and Krause. We cannot blow this game from here. Goal apiece in the second. Eriksson scores again. And in the third, this time we cap it off with Pridham and Boldy. 6-1 in game 2. It's still mission accomplished for the Oilers to take one of the first 2 games. But I'll take a 1-1 split instead of an 0-2 deficit. That's for sure. Let's see if we can get confirmation about Iowa being eliminated. No. They actually won their most recent game against San Jose. Okay. Game number 3 in Edmonton. No lineup changes. First period, 1-1. Eriksson dude, he's insane. Second period, 5-2. Faber, Gushchin, Bonkier, and Pridham. The old bank here. Oh my God. The First National Bank of Jari is open for business. Third period, goal apiece. Hunter Haight seals the deal as if it wasn't already done. 6-3 win. The Minnesota Wild are 2 wins away from being the West's representative in the Stanley Cup Final. Insanity. Insanity that this might be the team that does it, as the Iowa Wild head to the Calder Cup Final to play the Laval Rockets. Although Peter Mrazek, holy God, a 946 so far. That's insanity. Here we go. Game 4, first period, 2-1. Hunter Haight, Kirill Kaprizov. Second period, Boldy and Sturm. Third period, the Minnesota Wild are 1 win away. Was Quinn Hughes holding this team back? In real life, we know he wasn't holding back the Canucks because they're dreadful. But in this game, was he holding us back? 1 more win. Carolina's up 3-1. Game 5. Let's do it. First period, goalless. Second period is not. It's Connor McDavid. Third period, the Minnesota Wild are going to the Stanley Cup Final. You're off, Boldy, and Aaron Kiviharu's first postseason goal. We knock out the Oilers in 5 games. And will likely play Carolina, and indeed will play Carolina for the Stanley Cup. Look at these numbers, man. I can't believe Eriksson Ek only has 7 goals. I feel like he has so many more. Boldy, Boldy's almost a goal per game. Look at this production across this team. This is insane. And then underrated story of this whole postseason is Jesper Wallstedt has just been holding it down, to say the least. But we have 1 more series to go. Both of our teams have made it to the final. Iowa up 1-0 on Laval. We'll see if they can make it 2, and they did. Wow. The Carolina Hurricanes look like this. Andrei Svechnikov, Sebastian Aho, and Seth Jarvis. Jackson Blake, Logan Stankoven. I know it's Stankoven, call now. And Nick Ehlers. Nick Paul, Brett Howden, and J.G. Pajot. Andrei Burakovsky, Jordan Stahl, and Eric Robinson. Defense is Jacob Slavin with Shane Gostisbehere, Ole Mata, and Keandre Miller, Alex Nikishin, and Joel Nystrom. Peter Kochetkov is their netminder, with Hall, Chaffee, and Carrier as the scratches. This was the year we made it to the Cup Final. Game number 1. First period, 3-2. Oh boy, this could be a barn burner. It's Boldy and Eriksson Ek for us. Second period, still 3-2. Third period, the Carolina Hurricanes have taken game 1. We did get 2 goals from Danila Yurov, but it was too little too late. And, I praised Wallstead a bit too heavily, didn't I? It's probably the reason. We did lose game 1 to Edmonton, so we're not totally done for yet, but Wallstead drops by 9 points from a 944 to a 935 off of that one game alone, as the Iowa Wild are 1 win away from winning the Calder Cup. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final. First period, goalless. Second period, 2-0 Carolina. Third period, Burakovsky fends off the comeback with 62 seconds to go. We go to overtime, but it was Kaprizov twice, then Faber and Yurov. Well, maybe not quite in that order. Overtime, double overtime. Within 5 seconds. Here we go. 2, 1, go. 1, 2, there it is. Nick Ehlers wins it in overtime. Carolina has done what no one else has been able to do so far this postseason, and that is take 2 games off of us in a series. And more importantly for them, winning back-to-back games. That is, I wanted to look at that playoff tree just to make sure I'm right about the 2 games, and I am, which is insane. Do we make changes? It's tough to say. We lose here in Carolina in game 3. That's it. First period, 1-0 Minnesota, Eriksson Ek. Second period, bunch of goals, but it's Boldy and Middleton. Right now has the go-ahead goal. Third period, we're going to overtime again. Eriksson Ek scores, but we can't hold on. Overtime. We've made it so far. And now we're down 3-0 to the Carolina Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup Final. I said it earlier. Minnesota sports fans, Minnesota Wild fans very much included, cannot have anything nice. Iowa fans can have something nice. We have won the Calder Cup, which is phenomenal, given that I don't think our AHL team is really all that good. I mean, at least in terms of high-end prospects, but, some fringe NHLers certainly. It was Sam Harris, Eklund Asp, and Kumpalainen really leading the way from a scoring perspective. And then Chase Wutzke had a pretty good run. But it looks like things might fall short for us here in Minnesota. Wallstead, so far in this series, I am so sorry. I just completely jinxed you. You have been atrocious. Gustafson's in. His first game in 2 months. Not going to change anything about the forward lines or anything like that. We're going to leave it. Defense as well. We're going to leave it. And we'll see if the goaltending change is enough. Game 4. Are the Hurricanes about to win their second Stanley Cup in franchise history? First period, 2-0 Wild, Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek. Second period, 3-0 Wild, Jacob Middleton. Third period, the boys were not ready to say die. That was a big third period for Carolina as well, and they only scored 1 goal on quite a few shots, but 2 for Kaprizov, 1 for Gushchin. There will be no sweep in the Stanley Cup Final this year. Hat trick for Kaprizov, and Gus was outstanding at a time where we desperately, desperately needed it. Man, Kochetkov still at a sub-900 save percentage. All we needed was for Wallstead to be able to make a save in the series. Gustafsson back between the pipes. Game 5. Cup is in the building, but only Carolina can win it. First period, 1-0 Minnesota. Matt Boldy. Second period, we're now tied at 3. It was Boldy and Kaprizov, but Stankoven, Aho, and Slavin. It's Boldy, 15 seconds into the third, scores again. We'll go with the slow sim here. Up by 1 thanks to the Matt Boldy goal, and Nystrom ties it. Or Nystrom, if you prefer. Riley Height makes it 5-4. Goes to overtime. I can't say I'm that confident, but there will be no overtime. Daniil Gushchin seals the deal. 6-4 final. The Minnesota Wild have forced Game 6, outscoring them 12-5 over the last 2 games. We can't even think about the miracle. It's just going to be 1 win at a time. Gustafsson is back in. Carolina's starting to sweat. Cup is in the building. Their home arena. First period of Game 6, 1-1. Jarvis and Urhoff. Second period, 3-1 Minnesota. Kaprizov and Urhoff. 1 period away from Game 7. Kaprizov again. The Minnesota Wild have forced Game 7. Florida and Edmonton, huh? Those were the 2 teams that fell in the Final 4. And this series will hopefully not play out exactly like that one. Hopefully. It is ultimately the reverse sweep in the Stanley Cup Final. 18 goals over the past 3 games. 1 game left in this NHL season. Gustafsson is in, to say the least. Funny thing is, Game 5, he wasn't even that good, but he was good enough. Games 4 and 6, he was unreal. 1 win from winning the Stanley Cup for the first time in franchise history. Look at Boldy. Look at Kaprizov. If this team falls short, then man, we were playing with house money. We have no business being here. What an effort. And it might just be the closest we get, but what an effort. Game 7. Here we go. First period, 1-0 Carolina. Olli Maatta. As I look at my jersey collection, and I believe Olli Maatta is the only guy that I own a jersey of that is on that Carolina team currently. I mean, unless Rod Brindamore wants to pop out of retirement. Let's hope I don't have to look at this jersey sideways after this game, please. I really love that jersey, actually. Second period, goal apiece. Brett Howden and Caden Bonkier. We go to the third. This is it. All or nothing. Brett Howden makes a 3-1. Spot check gets it back. Svechnikov. Urhoff gets one back. Kaprizov has tied it. Power play Carolina. Oh my God, this is insane. We have to hop in. We have to. It all comes down to this. The next goal is going to win the Stanley Cup. I don't even know what jersey to wear. I don't have that, the alternate, of course, that they're using in real life, the throwback to the OGs, which, by the way, I mean, come on, dude. Look at that. The OGs, they're unbeaten. They're so good. They're so good. I'm stalling because I'm nervous. I'm sorry. I'm stalling because I am nervous. One game. One goal at this point. Who is going to win the Stanley Cup in the third season? In the third season of this 5-year plan. As we do, of course, I have to switch it over to Yield True Broadcast Cam. Here we go. This is it. All or nothing. We win the draw. Middleton to Kaprizov. 1:40 to go. Puck in front. Zurov tried to backhand that towards goal. It was a bit weak. Let's see what Carolina can do. Aho dumps it in. Misplayed, but Boldy's there. Turns it over. Aho, Svechnikov. Faber's there. Svechnikov again. It's a mad scramble for the puck. Boldy for Kaprizov. Into the attacking zone. Tried to pivot. Svechnikov was there. Now it's Aho. Trying to step in. Faber's there. Sends across for Boldy. Now Middleton. Turns it over as we try to get a D change. Looks like it didn't go through. Boldy to Yurov. After the big hit. Danila Yurov has the wheels, but just steps right into Keandre Miller. God, the AI can be so bad sometimes. Brodin for Yarachek. 40 seconds. Another turnover for us here. Pajot. Stripped of the puck by Krause. He's still working. Can't get it, though. Nick Paul into the attacking zone. Has way too much space. Broken up last minute. Krause holds it too long. A fight for it. Along the half wall, Krause comes up with it. And he will elect to dump this one around. Miller plays it. Final 10 seconds of regulation. Pajot gets wiped out. One more chance, perhaps. Gushchin, nowhere to go. From a 3-0 series lead for Carolina to Game 7 overtime with the cup on the line. I do not like the way our AI was playing there whatsoever. I'm going to tell the AI to be aggressive. Like, truly aggressive. Kiviharu tried to step in, not able to do so. Svechnikov sends it around. Jarvis can't handle it. Aho for Goss to spare. That shot saved by Gus. Oh boy. Kivy with trouble. Kaprizov has it. Still not really able to do much from an attacking perspective. Svechnikov for Jarvis. Tried to shovel it towards goal. He couldn't do it. Kiviharu stripped of the puck. Goss to spare to flex high. Aho bumped off the puck. Kiviharu as well. Faber trying to find someone. It's Kaprizov to the rescue. As Kiviharu, we're just going to leave him out on his own because we so badly need that line change. It's a little bit risky and maybe the wrong call, but we needed those fresh legs. As Jarvis knocked off by Gushchin. Kiviharu is still out there. Sends it across for Serrato. Gushchin to height. Save. Kochetkov. All right, well, no doubt here. Let's get aggressive on the face-offs. We're going to be telling everybody crash the net at this stage. Defensively, be aggressive. Quick draw, pays off. Yarachek, it deflects wide. Miller for Blake. Blake has the pace. Nice follow-up poke check, though. And again, Blake's shot. Gus, the relatively easy save. Let's get that third line out there. It's Krause, Haight, and Serrato versus Ehlers, Stankoven, and Blake. Face-off won by Stankoven. Mata for Ehlers. Ehlers, saved by Gus. Let's get that second line out there with Eriksson Ek. I was even tempted to play the first, but we know that Eriksson Ek has quick draw at the very least. And he wins it. But it is full pressure for Carolina. They got a piece of the puck. Brodin. Over the line. Jonas Brodin. Nowhere to go. And now a little bit of trouble here. Carolina counterattack. Played very well by Jaracek. Eriksson Ek for Haight. Bumped off the puck. Eriksson Ek can't get the shot off. We have been dreadful for the most part. Haight for Eriksson Ek. And just very tired legs. Brodin nowhere to go, and we might get caught here. Does Ehlers have the pace? Took a rough angle. It's the only thing that really saved us. Hunter Haight. Where's he going to go? To Kaprizov. Tries to weave his way around the defender, and he does. Back for Krause. Middleton. Tries to go down low for Haight, who backhands it towards goal. I don't know why Middleton just didn't shoot. Fresh legs. Top line out there. Our neutral zone D's been pretty good. Oli Mata. Bit of space. Saved by Gus. Blake. Strip to the puck. Race for it. Long change in this overtime as well. Goss to spare. He's being hounded. Howden's had a hell of a game. Race for the puck. Won by Spacek. Kaprizov for Boldy. Complete miscommunication. I can't believe how bad this team's playing right now. It's crazy. Boldy. Just fighting for it. Goes Bear, able to hold on. Robinson for Spacek now. Now it's Boldy. He'll be out there alone on this effort. Just has nowhere to go. Well, in fairness, he had places to go. He just dangled right into him. His Haight struggling to find space again. Nico Sturm for Pridham. Jack Pridham. Weak shot, glove save. Robinson for Burakovsky. Looking for a bit of help. Goes around the back of the net. Howden for Robinson. Shovel towards goal. It goes wide. Faber for Haight. He'll dump this in. Tired legs out there. 4 minutes into this overtime. Stankoven has that pace, finds Howden, good block by Faber. CB up to Haight, now Eriksson Ek. Can't weave his way through. We just keep trying to attack the middle of the ice, and there's nothing there. And there's nothing I can do from a settings perspective to tell them not to do that. Boy, do we need AI improvements. Hayden Bonkier draws the trip. This is it. This is the chance. It has to be. We're going to call a timeout here if we still have it. And we do. Make sure that top unit's out there. Yurov, Boldy, Kaprizov. What's it going to be? Face-off win for Carolina. Stahl can't clear. Backhand towards goal. Chetkov the save. I mean, we've gotten a couple of shots in this overtime, but nothing overly strong. Again, Yurov, Boldy, Kaprizov. Face-off won by Carolina, though, right to Chetkov. Plays it out to Slavin, who dumps it out. Givy Harju for Boldy. Again, just tries to walk right. Like he has no idea someone's in front of him. Boldy trying to hold on to it. Slavin can't clear. Boldy. Rebound. And Kaprizov just had no space. That ends up and over the glass. God, yeah, I really wish there was a way to stop the AI from just being like, I'm going to walk right into this person every time. Where's the dump and chase? Where's the cutbacks, drop passes, anything? Nikishin able to clear. Gustafsson is caught on the side of the cage. Thankfully, Kaprizov came up with it. Faber, a little bit of space. Walks into Mata. Kaprizov, save. And Nikishin can't clear. Kaprizov for Faber. Poked away. Kiviharju for Boldy. Quit turning right into people. I didn't call for a line change, so I don't know why they went. Shout out to the AI coach. What a great time. In case you thought I've had bad line changes in this game, yeah, shout out to the AI coach who just screwed us there. 50 seconds left on this power play. Serrato for Kaprizov. Kaprizov looking. Great efforts. And Howden will clear. Kiviharju. Bank pass straight to Pajot. Dumped right back. Dude, the AI is so bad. In case you're wondering why some other overtimes, like I haven't been watching the AI play, I swear to God, they're somehow worse. They are brain dead. And what a glove save by Gus. Oh my God, that should have been it. Another save. We're on the power play, mind you. Riley Height. Tries to sauce it. He had so much space. Why? God, they're so bad. They're so bad. And we're back to 5-on-5. Kiviharju just walks right into the defender. Riley Height tried to throw one on. He couldn't do it. Has it again, though. Middleton, that's blocked. Sturm, the interception. Drops back for Spacek. Now for Sturm. Throws one towards goal. Kochetkov. The save. We could be here for a while. Or who knows, this face-off could be the last play. Just like that. Keandre Miller tied with Eriksson Ek as the postseason leader in hits. What's it going to be? Face-off, tie-up, Carolina's puck. Slavin. Can he find any space? Dumps it around. Brodin can't hold. Back to the point. Jarvis blocked down. Bouncing puck. Slavin. Aho scores.
Overtime winner! And there is your Stanley Cup champions!
The childhood dream comes to an end as they're victorious to win the Stanley Cup, James. What an
We got Florida
unbelievable
Panthers.
moment that they've shared together. The sacrifices, the preparation.
Reverse sweep,
and it all
game 7,
culminates
lose
in
it.
this. A win, a victorious Stanley Cup.
On home ice, no less. Never a good feeling when you think you'd have a better chance of winning from the menu, when our luck in overtime this postseason from the menu sim was atrocious, but nowhere near as bad as what we just saw the AI doing. Minnesota cannot have nice things, at least in terms of sports. I don't know why you're cursed. I'm so sorry that you are. Oh, man. The Carolina Hurricanes, for the second time in franchise history, you better give the cup to Ole Mata. You better. Do we have to watch the rest of this?